Hey guys, welcome to Little Grip Garage. This here is my 2007 Crf150r, straight off of Facebook Marketplace. And I obviously did a little bit of modding to it. I put new graphics on it, new plastics, new seat, new bar, new grips, new levers. Basically new everything except for the motor and the frame. But it has a lot more issues than just the way it used to look. It didn't look bad, but now it doesn't want to run right. It doesn't want to idle normal. It doesn't want to stay running. It doesn't want to start consistently. And then the throttle keeps getting stuck, like it doesn't return at all. So I've got one item here that should fix that issue with our throttle. Don't know if it will, but I'm hoping it will. And then we're going to be adjusting the valves because I don't know if they're too tight or too loose. But the issues that I'm having could be from valves being tightened incorrectly. And then we're going to be checking our air fuel mixture screw because a high idle can indicate an engine running lean. And ours is running at high idle, but the plug was rich. So I'm really confused, which is why we're doing this video. But we're going to get right into it. We're going to throw this new throttle body grip center thingy onto the bars, and then we'll see if that'll fix our throttle issue. So the issue I'm having with the throttle here, so as you can see, this is all new throttle body, cables, and grip, but it stays wide open. So when I'm riding this, I have to give it gas and then push it back forward. Otherwise, I'm going to have cruise control set to max throttle. And this was straight off of Amazon. It was like $10, I think. And it has a tube inside, which is what this is right here. And that tube is made out of plastic, which can create a lot of friction, causing this not to snap back like I want it to. Because with how I want to be riding this bike, I want this to be a very snappy, controllable throttle. In case like I fall off or something and it gets stuck pinned, that would not be good. So we're gonna use some PB Blaster, I think, to try to get this grip off, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to just pull it off as is. It's really tight on there. That's one thing I remember about the Amazon kit. Everything was really tight. I'm actually getting it pretty good though. There we go. So these are actual Pro Taper grips. I know these aren't the issue. But this is the cheap throttle assembly here. Very cheap, very plasticky. Like, I could 3D print something better than this. It's like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that looks rough. Look at that. There's like bumps and grooves and weird stuff. So I'm going to open that one up. And we're going to take this apart, and then I think this just pops out, and that one pops right back on. All right, we have two Allen key bolts, Allen wrenches, whatever you want to call these. I'm going to loosen them both at the same time because this, like I said, it's from Amazon, and there's something not correct about it. This took me at least an hour to install. If you tighten one 1/2 centimeter before the other, it doesn't tighten. It's really hard to explain, but this thing took me so long to figure out the cables, and they made it way more complex than it needs to be, I feel like. So hopefully we're not going to have that issue again. Because holy, I mean, these bolts already look rough. So hopefully these things don't strip out or anything, but this should pop apart. I'm going to take this sleeve off, and then there we go. Kind of-ish. Because our cables are screwed into this. So let's see. This might actually be a little bit tricky. I'm gonna go grab a screwdriver and try to pop this off this little guide here. I'm actually just gonna use this. There's a little guide on here that I've got to try to, just like that, pop the cable off, and then we're gonna slide our cables off. These cables might actually not have been new. They don't look new from the way I'm looking at it. So that could have been an issue. I really don't think it was. Cables normally aren't the issue with stuff like that. I do need to go get pliers or a wrench to unscrew this little part right here. I'm going to loosen this, but the only issue is that that's going to pull on our cable even more, which might make it even more tight, which might make this harder to get off. But I think we have to take this off to pull this little part off right here. It's connected to our actual cable. There we go. This is that little guide I was talking about. We do still need this, so I gotta still be careful with that. But then this can twist off, and then there we go. Now, let's see, why is this stuck on? See, we still need this, so we gotta be careful with that. That's already dinged up and scratched now, but this little plastic garbage. Now we're gonna get our new one. Now I know it would be smarter to try to adjust the valves first to see if we can get this running before we put time into an accessory that we don't need. The reason I'm trying to avoid that is because to even take off the spark plug on this, which we have to go deeper than the spark plug, you have to take off the side plastics, the seat, the tank, the radiator mounts, the whole top of the motor basically. You have to take off the plug wire, and then you have to unbolt everything and then try to pull it all out. So that's why I'm trying to do other stuff first right now. But huge difference. Shiny billet aluminum, lightweight but also low friction. Look at that. I guarantee the other one can't do that. Here's a little comparison side by side. They are different sizes, which is kind of weird actually. I don't know. They're different lengths, but I think it's gonna be fine. As long as it works, it's okay, obviously. So I'm going to grab some, normally some people use like graphite to put right here. I don't just have graphite in my back pocket. So I know it's not gonna last, but I might just put some oil in here to keep it kind of lubricated. So I'm gonna go find like a random jug, dab a little bit on my finger, and just make sure I get it all around inside the bore of this right here. Couldn't find any of my junk oil, so we're gonna use some ATV 4-stroke 10W40. This is what I run on all my stuff. So I'm just gonna unscrew this, get a tiny bit on here, and then we'll go from there. Alright, I just got some of the oil on that little bore right there, and it already feels way smoother than it already did. And it already felt way better than this plastic thingy right here. So now, the part that I actually really struggled on is putting it back together. So we're going to guide this like that. I'm just going to temporarily screw this in there. Okay, now we're going to route this cable. I probably should have picked up an aluminum or high performance, high quality hub thing, because I don't think this was our main issue. But we can also open up the carburetor, add a thicker throttle spring. I ordered a throttle spring 2.5 months ago. I got scammed, 100%. I bought the stronger the spring, the more your throttle should shoot back. So I bought like the strongest actual spring I could find for this thing. Never showed up, never got information about it or anything. So we're just gonna have to run the stock one, or maybe we can find one around the shop and throw that in here, which could work actually. But then we can also grease up some certain points in the carb itself. I just got it all assembled. This thing looks really shiny and nice. I put some Crf150r on it. It's basically just penetrating oil, and I don't know if you're supposed to use it for this, but I did. And look at this. As I showed you the other one, I would do this and let go and it would stay. Super snappy. I'm sure you guys can hear it. I actually did not think that was gonna work, but that is awesome. It's super snappy, feels great. I got the tube oiled, and then I Crf150r/oiled the little slide right there, and then I try to get some down this line, and it feels great. But now we gotta slide our ring back on, and they call this a ring donut, I think. So we're gonna slide those two on, get that mounted up, and then we gotta tear all of this off to get to our valves right there. Alright, we're gonna get this thing slid on here. Oh yeah, and then it sticks out a little bit, but I don't know what all this is about. I might have to get different grips. But I would way rather have it look like this with a little gap than work how it did without a gap. I'd rather have it work than look good. And we're gonna throw our Pro Taper grip donut on. Make sure, oh no, that's, okay. Yeah, there we go. Now that covers that little gap there. Now there's just, look at that though. That is actually awesome. I did not actually think changing that was gonna fix it, but that is awesome. I used to be able to do this and let go and it would stay. That's exactly what I wanted. I really like that. I'm definitely gonna buy like 5 more of those to put those on all my bikes that have this same issue. I have like 3 others that are like that. But now the fun part, we gotta tear apart everything on top of this bike and around it basically. One other thing I forgot about. Before we tear everything on this off, we're going to adjust our air fuel mixture screw. And I don't know what the previous owner put in this as jet wise. I don't know what jets he put in it. But we're going to set it to the factory jet setting because this is a new carb that I bought. So actually it'll be factory jets. And then we'll see if it runs good there. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, we'll tear everything down, get our valves adjusted. But I got to loosen the clamps on this carb, and then I should be able to just twist it over, screw it all the way in, 2 screws out, and then we'll just keep going up if it doesn't want to start. And if once we get to like 4 turns, if it still doesn't want to start, we'll start going in from 2. So I'm going to start loosening everything, and I'll get to work, and then we'll see if it'll run from there. Hopefully it does. Another issue, actually, I'm going to try to start it right now, because with our throttle being sticky, now that I'm thinking of it, what if our throttle is just getting stuck at different positions? Because sometimes it would run perfect. Sometimes it would idle like crazy high. Sometimes it would idle just a little bit high. So that actually might be our issue, and we might have just solved it. But now the only issue is I have it tuned for a messed up throttle slide, which that's actually pretty annoying now because it would idle crazy high. I would adjust it. I would give it a rev, but then it would probably get stuck at a different point. So I'm going to try to see if we can fire this thing up. And if it runs great, then that's really nice. And then we're also going to be tightening the chain in this video because that is not normal. I can take it off right now if I wanted to. Like literally. That's not good. It's supposed to be a little bit loose, but definitely not like this. But yeah, I'm going to fire this thing up real quick if it'll run. That's a very, very small if. But let's see if this thing will start. Alright, fuel on, choke on. We're going to take it off the stand too, so I have better balance. Alright, let's try this. No way. I couldn't get it to start. It's been quite a few minutes of just kicking it over. It did fire up for a few times for a few seconds. But I'm going to try adjusting our air fuel mixture screw and see if that'll help. Alright, next day we got some Ultra Gray RTV or something. I don't know, but I'm going to be using this to seal up this. I don't remember if I made a clip showing this, but a high idle can be caused by a huge vacuum leak. And this part right here, I couldn't tell you what it does, honestly. I don't know what this does. But all I know is it screws in right back there. And I thought it was screwed in, but it is completely stripped out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is completely stripped out on this main part right here. So it was just sitting on there. Like it just sits there. So that is a vacuum leak. So we're going to put some of this on it. And then we're going to try to just jam it in there. And then hope for the best because today is the day that I have to upload. So we're just gonna try to get this thing running as fast as possible. Because we still need to tighten the chain, check the valves possibly. If this somewhat fixes the issue, I don't think we need to check the valves, because that's not a very common issue at all. And I don't think the last dude touched it, but we could still check if it doesn't work. But we're for sure going to try this out, tighten the chain, and then we already fixed our throttle issue. So I'm going to set a time lapse, just get this done, put some RTV on this gasket thing or whatever, stick it in there, let it dry for a little bit, and then we should be good to see if this thing will start now. I also have to reconnect our throttle here. Disconnect it because when I was tuning the air fuel mixture screw, I had to disconnect it so I could turn the carb. So we got to connect that again because this isn't connected right now. So I got the sealant stuff on there, and to my surprise, it actually screwed in too. As you guys saw, those threads were like rounded out, and somehow I got it to screw in. So I got it as tight as I could screwed in, and I got the sealant on there. And then I also realized this bolt fell out, which is why this is all wobbly. I had like 90 bolts on the ground. There's still quite a bit, but I don't want to cross thread that, so I might have to go to the shop and grab the right size bolt because it's supposed to look like this. But that's why this was annoying me. I thought this was just how it was mounted, but it's because that bolt's missing. So I'm gonna bring you guys over here with the camera, set another time lapse, connect all of our throttle cables because there's multiple things over here, and then we're gonna wait a little bit for it to dry. I'm gonna hang out, let it dry, and then actually while we're waiting for it to dry after the throttle, we'll tighten our chain because we already have it up on a stand. And then I think we got to put air in the tires, and then we'll see if this thing will start. So I just got the throttle cables on. It's really snappy throttle again, and sounds and feels really nice. But just to be safe, before I put our cover on here, I'm gonna go grab some Crf150r and spray it on all this again, just to be safe. On this rail right there. And then I'm gonna start moving this while I... Alright. Now we can pop this cover back on. If I remember how, I think it's just, yeah. Throw our bolt on here. I always gotta pop that rubber boot back over this. If this thing wants to screw on, there we go. Alright, just like that, our throttle's back together. Nice and snappy throttle, just like it used to be. Look at this. It never used to be that smooth and nice. So now, we have the throttle back on. We have that drying. I think it's time to tighten the chain. This thing's already on a stand, so we'll be able to tighten it as is right now. And then that'll probably be dry by then. We can see if this thing will run. Look how loose this chain is. That is insane. I could almost take it off with my fingers, which is not normal. That's really loose. So I'm gonna set another time lapse. I'm gonna loosen this, screw these out, and then we'll get this thing tightened up. Alright, we've run into an issue. I'm trying to tighten our chain here. And as you can see, this axle is already about to slide off this thing. And when I backed this out as much as I can to tighten the chain, it kept hitting the limiter, which means that this chain is so worn out that it stretched so far that this axle slid all the way back. It still is insanely loose. So we're gonna take out a link, I think. You're really supposed to change these, especially when they're this stretched out. But again, we're kind of running out of time, so I'm just gonna cut a link off, I think. And then we should be good, because we still have an inch and a half to move it forward, and one link is like an inch and a half. So we should be good. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm just going to set another time lapse and get to work doing this because I really want to ride this today. So yeah, I'm going to start cutting this thing up and putting it back together. happened, and basically I don't think we're riding this anymore. So in order for me to get this chain off, I have to loosen these, or to tighten it, right? So I backed those all the way in so that I could see how much room we have to cut the chain. And over here it was a little stuck, so I used some coil, needle nose vice grip, wherever that went. Right there, I used that. And then I was working it, and then this happened. And the bolt has like 1/8 of an inch sticking out. So I'm gonna try to get this thing rolling, take it up to the shop. We're gonna try to do some welding and configuring and see if we can get this figured out, but I don't know if we will be able to. Well, after an hour and a half, this thing's not fixable. I mean, we did everything we could, welded stuff, heated it, tried to grind it, tried to use pliers, needle nose, vice grips, everything. It's not gonna come out, and a new swing arm is $1,300, so I don't know what to do. I think we're just gonna see if this thing will start, because we did hopefully fix the motor and fix our throttle issue, but I don't think this thing's gonna be driven for probably ever, because I'm not spending $1,300 on a swing arm. And the only ones I could find on eBay had holes the size of my handlebars in them. So I'm gonna pull this thing out, we're gonna see if it'll run, and then we'll go from there. Alright, let's see if this thing will start. I don't think it will, honestly, but we'll try. Fuel on. We're gonna put choke on. I'm gonna let it fill the carb for a minute. Well, it has been about 40 minutes of straight kicking it over, trying to tune it, figuring it out. It runs better. It actually idles now, somewhat. But you touch the throttle, it starts idling at the rev limiter, and then you blip the throttle again and it stalls. It's running like garbage, it sounds like garbage, and now it can't drive. But I think that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys have any suggestions on what I should do with this bike, spend 40 grand trying to fix it, sell it, just keep it and not do anything with it, or whatever you guys want to see me do on other projects or this one, comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want some Little Grip Garage merch, go to vicegripgarage.com and you'll see some shirts on there and some stickers that I have. But thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.